Namaste, radiant being of planet Earth. Today, I was drawn to this beautiful spot for this little practice, this little intuitive flow. And this flow is inspired by all of the iguanas around here. So it's gonna be a very lizardy practice, very reptilian. If you don't know what I mean, then give it a try and see how you feel. Let's begin with an Om. So you can just take your hands together at your heart. You can rub your hands together, maybe set an intention for your practice. Take a big breath in. And then you can take your hands down to your knees. You can put your fingers in Jnana Mudra, touching the index fingers to your thumbs. And let's just take a few rounds of deep, conscious, connected breath, coming in through the nose, back out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Continue on your own at your own pace. Good. Now the next time you breathe in, hold the breath in for just a moment. Take a big full in breath. And then when you breathe it out, we're going to hold the breath out. So go ahead and exhale all the air. And then just sit and hold emptiness for about 30 seconds if you can. Relax your body. And then we'll breathe in again in 3, 2, 1. Holding the breath in, squeezing Mula Bandha. And breathing out. Excellent. Now, let's do this. Let's come into a squat, a low squat. Interlace your hands to Kali Mudra, and we're gonna do a fire breath for 2 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my watch, and as I do that, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about fire breath. So it's like you're coughing over and over again. We're pumping the navel point and forcing air out of your nose. When you cough, this is what happens. But since our mouth is closed, the air is going to be coming out of the nose. And as you practice this, you will get better and better at it. If you're on your menstrual cycle, or if you're pregnant, or if this is just not going well for you, if you feel like you're going to pass out, then please stop and just come back to a deep, steady breath. But if you're down to try this with me, 2 minutes is starting now. Interlace your hands, your fingers, except for your index fingers, and let's begin to pump from the navel point. If you're new to fire breath, then yours might be really slow. If you're more experienced and this is no big deal for you, then go as fast as you want. And if it gets really challenging, then see if smiling helps you to keep going. Have a good attitude and a good sense of humor about the challenge. Or it could just be mental resistance that you have to break through. We all have a lot of mental resistance, and things like this, exercises like this, help us to break through that. So keep going, we have about a minute more. Good, think about cleansing fear and stagnation out of the lower chakras. Good, now take a big breath in, hold it in, squeeze mula bandha, looking to the third eye, and then breathe it out. Awesome. And then just lean forwards and come into a forward fold. You can grab your opposite elbows and let yourself sway side to side, releasing the lower back. If you made it all the way through, great job. If you just attempted it, great job. If you empowered yourself to not do it at all because it didn't feel right, then great job. Excellent. Now, when you're ready, let's take your left hand, let's widen out your stance a lot more, and put your left hand right down under your chest. Turn to your right, take your right hand to your lower spine, and just twist to your right, turning to look up at the sky. Good, and then we switch sides. Take your right hand, put it down where your left hand was, turning to your left. And then reach down to the ground. And let's slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Good, taking your arms, bring them up and around. Exhaling, hands down to your heart, and you can heel toe your feet together. And I am going matless today. It's something that I would recommend you try sometimes. It can be cool to just kind of bust out of the box and let yourself practice on bare earth. So if you want to do that with me, if you can do that with me, then I invite you. Whatever works for you today in your space that you're in. And let's come to standing at the top of your mat or your imaginary mat. And let's begin the standing sequence. Breathing in, reach your arms up to the sky. Maybe curving your back a little bit, and then exhale, folding forwards. Inhale to long spine. And then let's just exhale back into downward facing dog. Feel your hands and feet on the ground and take several deep breaths here.
And now we're going to start alternately stepping forwards to a lizard lunge. So bring your hands maybe a little bit closer together than they were, because we're going to step to the outside of your hands. So when you're ready, step forwards on the right. Lunging forwards, inhale, and then exhale back to down dog. Inhale forwards on the left, and then exhale back to down dog. So that is our pattern. We're going to do several rounds of that. We're moving slowly and smoothly and mindfully. It's not a race. There's no certain number of times that we're trying to do it. And you'll notice that this does involve some core muscles. Good, so let's do a little bit more core awakening actually. So let's come into a plank and bring your right knee to your right elbow and hold. And exhale back. Left side, do it again. Left knee coming to the elbow, hold. And go back. Don't think about it, just do it. So let's do 2 more on both sides if you're down to do that with me. Anytime you feel challenged, just smile. See if that helps you. There's a big difference in smiling for someone else and just smiling inwardly to yourself. Both of them can be effective and useful. Right now, smile to yourself. This time we're gonna step forwards on the right, and we're gonna come all the way down to the knee this time. And take a moment just to wiggle around. And then if you want, you can let yourself go all the way down into lizard lunge, bending your elbows or dropping your elbows to the ground or to your props. Good, coming back up onto your hands when you're ready. And if you want, for our last little bit here, you can try bending the left knee, reaching back with the left hand. And you can just pull the foot in towards your body. If that's already challenging, then maybe just stay there. And if you feel like this is possible, you could come into a bind. I call this merman pose, or mermaid. Excellent. Release when you're ready. And we'll go back into down dog. And then don't forget we have to do the other side. So step forwards on your left. And then drop yourself down into lizard pose when you're ready. Give yourself a moment if you want to wiggle around. And then just let gravity pull you down into the pose.
And if you want to take that more challenging option, or if you want to try it, you don't have to be able to do it to try it. Just be careful and stay within your body's limits. Use your intuition to guide you in your practice. But if you want, you can try reaching back for your right leg, or your right ankle, your right foot. Maybe try the bind. In yoga, we have to sometimes let go of our desire to go further in a pose and just accept the limitations of your body for that particular day, and every day is different. But for me today, that felt good. So if you tried it, I hope it felt good for you too. Let's come out of the pose, and then when you're ready, step back into your downward facing dog again. This time up on your toes, bending your knees. And let's do some fun, playful, primal movements right now. So let's go from where you're at to hovering your knees above the ground. And let's do that a few times. Obviously, we are engaging your core a lot more. This has intuitively become quite a little core strengthening practice, but in a very playful and fun way. I'm feeling it. Okay. And then let's do this primal movement. So you can go from your bear all the way down to your knees. And let's start practicing a spinal wave. So just explore and experiment with movement and letting this wave pass through your spine. So kind of a snake-like movement. If you want, you can even do this with your arms up in the air. Awesome. Now, take your hands down to the ground, lift your knees off the ground, go back into down dog with your knees bent, and let's practice the spinal wave in this position. So it starts by contracting your lower abdomen and then letting the wave pass through your spine. I need to step my feet back a little bit wider, or a little bit further back. And so it can take you from this bear position all the way down into your plank. Let's do that maybe 8 times. Inhaling and then exhaling all the way down. Inhaling and then exhaling as the wave passes through. So it's kind of like the movement of cat when we do cat-cow. Last one. Excellent. Now just come into bear pose and let's crawl around. But since I said this is a lizard practice, maybe you can embody your iguana self as you crawl around your space. You can go forwards, you can go backwards. You can go side to side. Awesome. Now, come to your spot where you want to be and take a moment to come down to your knees, take a little rest, and I'm gonna show you another fun movement that I've been working with lately. So the movement is this. It's related to wild thing if you've ever done that pose before. So from bear pose or iguana pose, if we're calling it that, this is my right leg. I'm just gonna reach it over and then step over with my right arm. And so I'm gonna be corkscrewing, and it's kind of like a twirling motion as I travel like that. So see if you can do it. And see if you can, if you do know what wild thing is, see if you can feel how they are related. Take your time as you explore this movement, especially if it's new for you and you've never done this movement before. And then bring yourself back to downward facing dog, and we'll go fully into wild things. So we'll do the right leg first. So lift your right leg and just reach it over, bring it down to the ground, and then flip your downward facing dog. See if you can feel and notice how this posture is similar to what we just did. If you want, you can lower your rear end down to the ground and notice you can enter wild thing from this position. Flipping your down dog is not the only way to get into the pose. So maybe a few times, inhale yourself up into wild thing, and then exhale yourself back down. And that's wild, T-H-A-N-G. That's not just my accent. The pose is called wild thing. I'm just being silly. That's what I call it. If you Google search wild thing yoga pose, I think you will find the yoga pose. Let's try it the other way. So now right arm behind you, lifting and lowering. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Inhaling up, maybe holding. And then to get back into downward facing dog, we just reach the hand down to the floor, step over, and we're back. Take a few breaths in your down dog. Excellent. Now I have just a few more things for you. Have one more major core strengthening exercise. So let's come into your plank and let's hold the plank. Tighten your core. If you want, you can rock yourself forwards and back a few times. Good, and then when you're ready, let's go up and down from full plank to forearm plank. So we'll go down, down, up, up, leading with your left arm, and then right arm, left arm, right arm. Good, and then the next time you come down, we will stay down and roll over into a side plank on your left side. You can have your hand behind your head like mine, or you could put your hand on your hip, and let's hold side plank for 6 seconds, 6 times. All right, so that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last 1. Good, and then come back. And let's go up and down leading with your right arm. So come to full plank leading with right arm, and then back down. Good, and the next time you come down, we'll stay down. And then we will come over into side plank on the right elbow, lifting into the pose, holding. Good, and just a few more, 5 more. And I believe 2 more for a total of 6 on each side. Pardon me if I miscounted, it happens sometimes. But we just trust that if we're practicing intuitively and mindfully, that it's perfect and you're getting everything that you need. Good, ready, and come down. Excellent. Let's come to your hands and knees. And let's just do some organic wiggly movement of your spine. Whatever movements feel good. Awesome. And then I have a little finishing sequence for you. So let's come to seated, however you want to get there. You can come through your arms if you want, or whatever, and get to seated. And let's do a little Navasana. So you can take your arms and let's bring them up and then pull your inner thighs towards each other and hold this posture. But don't hold your breath in this posture. Good, you can release. Take a little bit of rest. And let's do it 2 more times. Ready, set, go. Straightening your legs if you can. Really try to access your deeper abdominal muscles and release. I was a little shaky in that one. Not sure why, but that's okay. Sometimes the body just does weird stuff. Let's do it again. The wider you open your boat, the more challenging it becomes. So if you want to challenge yourself more, you can open up wider. You can play around and experiment with different ways of holding yoga poses. And release. Excellent. Now, let's come back through your arms. And I am going to come back onto my mat for this one because laying down on the grass with bare skin is not fun. Very, very itchy. So, we're gonna say this is probably the peak posture of today. So this is Dhanurasana, bow pose. So let's bend your knees. Let's reach back and see if you can find both of your ankles. And if you're only able to grab one, then we'll do one side at a time. And if you're able to get them both, then we'll do 2 holds holding both. So kick your feet back into your hands. And then if you're able to also kick your feet up into your hands, do that. Deep, steady breath on this first one. And release.
Take a few breaths of rest before we do it again. And then coming into the pose again, this time,
If you have both feet and you want to do a breath of fire, then you can join me for a breath of fire. Let's do about 20 to 30 pulses if you're doing that. Otherwise, deep, steady breath is fine. Good, breathe in. And breathe out. Release.
and come back to hands and knees.
For a little bit more organic movement of your spine, whatever feels good. Awesome. Now I really just have 2 more postures for you. So let's come back onto your back again. You can get there however you want.
And just bring your knees into your chest.
And let's see if we can use your abdominal muscles and also your arms pushing against the ground to
Get your knees over your face. And use your hands to support your back. And just drop your knees down towards your forehead. And let's take 10 breaths. Excellent. When you're ready, release yourself down. If you want to stay longer, of course you can stay longer. It's your practice. And then take your feet down to the floor. Interlace your palms together underneath you. Scoot your shoulders a little bit closer together and lift yourself into bridge. Good. Activate your glutes. Just a couple more breaths. And release when you're ready. Good. And just relax your body and your mind and your breath. And settle into the space that you're in for a couple minutes of
just purely being. You can really be in any position that you want. A good option is either Shavasana, just lying on your back completely open, or restorative pose if that's more comfortable for you with your knees bent and your spine in a natural, relaxed S shape. If you would like to finish with a little balancing breath with me, then you can gradually make your way back to seated. And you can do this with your eyes closed. We'll just make a peace sign with your right hand and put those peace sign fingers between your eyebrows. And we'll be using the thumb and the ring finger of your right hand to control the breathing through the right and left nostril. Left hand is just resting on your knee, palm down or up, whatever feels intuitively better for you. And we're gonna start by breathing in through the left and out through the right. In through the right, out through the left. In through the left, out through the right. In through the right, out through the left. In through the left, out through the right. In through the right, out through the left. One more complete cycle. In through the left, out through the right. In through the right,
finishing as we breathe out through the left. Excellent. Taking the hands to the knees. Take a few deep breaths and just take a few moments of closure on your practice, feeling gratitude. Thank yourself for showing up. Feeling gratitude for the space that you're in, for all of the many, many countless beings that support your existence. The ones that you know about and the ones that you're unconscious of as well. All beings. Feeling gratitude for iguanas, for inspiring me to teach this class. And we'll finish with a big Om, just like we started. You can take your hands together, breathing all the old air out, breathing in. Bowing the head to the heart, this practice is complete. But take your practice with you, take your peace and your centeredness with you, and have the best day possible. Thank you so much for practicing with me.